Welcome to the Amanda Hall Psychic Show here on A1R Psychic Radio on Moonstruck TV. I hope you've had a fantastic week wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours. I know the number one topic on everybody's lips is coronavirus, is when are we going to get some relief from it? When are things going to change? Am I safe? Are my family safe? And it's an interesting sort of question that I know that everybody is concerned about in some form or another. So let's move the show along and let's look at the Secrets of Tarot card of the week. Now, this week we have the High Priestess. Now, for anybody that's familiar with tarot, you will know that this is the actual highest tarot card out of the 78. Now, the High Priestess is the highest card. So with the highest card obviously comes, she's very, very powerful. Good or bad. Now, you know, not everything is good in our lives and not everything is bad. So she can take on the energy of either. Secrets yet to be revealed. Now, when I drew this card this morning, I thought, isn't this a very poignant card for this week, for collectively as a globe? Because as I caught up with a little bit of news just prior to sort of coming on air, there seems to be a number of vaccine trials starting this week around the globe in a number of locations for the coronavirus. Now, this I think is very exciting. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Just because they're starting to trial these vaccines or potential vaccines on humans doesn't mean that next week this is all going to be over. Even once they get the results in and they're happy with what they're seeing, it's still going to be at least probably another 6 to 12 months before it starts to be rolled out worldwide. So we still have to be very vigilant in our own localities and follow the instructions of our local leaders of what's safe for our area. So having the highest card coming out in the tarot, to me, was sort of showing us collectively as a globe, we have the power, we have the ability to find out the secrets or anything that's been hidden from us, or maybe the wisdom is the way that I looked at this, is the wisdom to be able to get the breakthroughs that the scientists need. Let's forget politics for a moment. Let's just look collectively as one fellow human being to another, and let's keep each and every one of us safe as much as we possibly can. So that's the Secret of Tarot card for the week, and that is from my Secrets of Tarot cards that have been out in the marketplace now about 2.5 years, but we did have an earlier project back in 2004 called Simply Tarot, which is available worldwide. Now, I'd like to sort of go on to now the candle of the week, and I've chosen the same candle again, and I know you're probably going to get sick of looking at this, but I just don't feel that we can choose anything else other than maybe a healing candle at the moment. And this is the candle that represents my angel in the sky. Now, collectively around the world, there has been far too much loss of life. There is so many families that are grieving the loss of someone that was very near and dear to them. And I think it's only respectful that I keep featuring this candle as a collective thing to say you're not forgotten. If you've lost somebody through this virus or you've lost them through natural causes or an accident, we are all here for you. You'll notice in the back of the set I have one burning as a mark of respect for all the lives that have been lost during this pandemic. I think it's important that we all stick together and sort of honour the people that we've lost. So this week in my box of gift box set that I've made up this week, I've also featured obviously my angel in the sky in the middle. I've also featured the healing candle, and I've featured the candle of love, because I do think that we all need a little bit of extra love in our lives at the moment. Everybody's feeling a little bit isolated. You know, if you're fortunate enough to share a house or a property with someone else, you've got that human contact. You've got that somebody that you can have a conversation with in these times of quarantine. But there's a lot of people out there that live alone, that have no one, and they really just sort of need to feel this loving embrace, some sort of loving energy coming towards them. And obviously also I've featured the healing candle because we do want the world to heal. But most importantly, we want to recognise those people that we've lost through the virus and other reasons why people lose their lives. Let's honour those people and be respectful and take a minute out of our busy day to just reflect on that and send some positive energy to those families that need some healing at this point in time. So for a little glimpse around the universe, and each week we've been focusing on the coronavirus as I've sort of taking the astrology section of the show, and this week's going to be no different. I know I mentioned on last week's show that I thought hopefully that from an astrological standpoint that we might have some breakthroughs as far as potentially some drugs that might be useful for the coronavirus, or we might start to see the trialling of a vaccine. Well, without becoming political, there was a few statements that were made last week that I won't repeat that, really gave people the wrong information of how this virus could be combated. And I don't think that bears thinking about or giving any energy to. But I do feel in the last 7 days we have had some major conversations about different laboratories around the world, and I've heard of 3 or 4 now that are starting to do human trials on vaccines that could potentially be a vaccine for this virus. So in that way, I think that's a very positive step forward as a globe that, many laboratories around the world are working on different potential vaccines. And there was one in particular that caught my attention where it looks like that they might be able to sort of bring this one out that, could have a flow-on effect and revolutionise the way vaccines and medicines are produced in the future. So fingers crossed that they sort of continue on and get some good results with these trials. So on an astrological standpoint, I want to start not necessarily at the beginning of astrology, but I want to start with this part of astrology. I want to look at where the sun is. The sun is actually in Taurus at the moment. So the Taurian energy can be about things that are important to us. Yes, it can be about money and finances and what's mine's mine and what's yours is mine, and I'm going to keep it all for myself. But on a larger scale, it can also be about the things that are important to us, like family, our value systems, how we structure finances more on a personal level. But joining the sun in the sign of Taurus this week is the planet of communication, Mercury. So Mercury is holding hands with the planet Uranus, which is the planet of the unusual and the unexpected and the breakthrough parts of our lives where we can have things that happen very, very suddenly. Then also holding hands with the sun, which is where our ego, our drive comes from, and where the sun moves its way around the zodiac. So to me, it was very important because we've got some breakthrough communications, things that are going to come out of left of field, maybe abstract or strange comments, or, we've got to filter the good from the bad in all of this. But it's also showing us that maybe collectively as a globe, we have a way forward here where we can, if we join hands together and put our collective thinking caps on, maybe, just maybe, by sharing data and information and things like that, we're going to see some major breakthroughs in the next 7 to 14 days as far as how we approach this virus moving forward. Now, this could be collectively sharing data on how to start opening up communities, to how slowly starting to get the world back to some new sort of normal. It can also be on the vaccine front, and it can also be on the treatment front. So I think it's going to be a collective mixed basket of a lot of different messages out there, and I think we all need to be vigilant and sift through what we think is appropriate and non-appropriate and what feels right to us, not necessarily just taking what everybody says as being gospel. We've got to look at what feels right to us, what in the pit of your tummy, if it tells you that it feels right, then maybe it is right for you. We then move on to Capricorn, and we've had a plethora of planets sitting in Capricorn now, and each week I talk about them, and it is still very, very relevant with what's going on around the world. And, we're seeing government institutions and governments and nations and countries around the world doing things that are unprecedented, things that they're talking about that they haven't done for over 100 years or haven't, this is worse than the Great Depression. We've got more unemployment than we had then at a faster rate, and all these different things. And I think a lot of times they're forgetting to go back and look at history in the fact that every 100 years we have a pandemic of some description. And it usually is a flu-like virus that comes, it wipes out a fair portion of the population. We all say, well, we're never going to let this happen again. And again, it happens again in 100 years' time. So there must be some lessons here as we as human beings must have to learn out of this. Or is it just the planet readjusting itself every 100 years for sort of saying, well, you're not looking after the place, you're not doing a good enough job, so I'll make you all stand still, stay home and change your ways by sort of sending this virus, this sickness through the place, so everybody's got to sort of start to reboot in a different way. I'm not sure. I'm just looking at the potential possibilities that are there and why is this happening every 100 years? Because there's nothing on an astrological pattern or a transit that correlates with 100 years as being, okay, this is something that we can expect every 100 years. So Pluto, the planet of transformation, has been sitting in Capricorn now since about 2007. It will be there till 2022. So Pluto is nearing the end of his reign in Capricorn. So with Pluto, Pluto's the planet of transformation. So every lesson that we learn through Pluto is slow, deliberate, definite, and is a lesson that we will never forget. Now, because it's in the house of big business, of governments, of anything that's official in our lives, whether it's hospitals, doctors, dentists, banks, lawyers, financial institutions, but it also governs the planet of how we're dealing with the planet. What are we doing? Have we been really paying attention to global warming and the animals, and does the planet need to heal? And that's one of the positive things that's coming out of this COVID-19 is the planet is actually getting a chance to breathe. You know, pollution's down. We're not using as many fossil fuels. People are staying home. People are starting to reboot their lives in a different way and look at the things that are important to them. Yes, finances and money does make the world go round, but by heavens, if you haven't got your health, no amount of money is going to buy that for you or prevent you from becoming sick. So yes, we are starting to look at things in a different way. So when I say that Pluto is holding hands or conjunct Jupiter, the planet of opportunity, expansion, higher mind, and much broader thinking, this is what it's doing. It's asking us to stand up and question what our governments, what our leaders are saying. What are they presenting to us? Is this truthful? Are they telling us the truth? And you'll see around the world the leaders that are getting the most praise and are not doing it for ego-driven polls to be in their favour are the officials that are standing up and telling the public the truth. Even though it may not be palatable, even though it may not be what they want to hear, they're being very clear, very concise, and saying this is how it is. This is what we collectively have to do as a group of people. So the more people that get on board with this and do as we need to do, the quicker we can flatten the curve and the quicker we can go back to some sort of normality. Then you have other people that are using this for political gain and really making fools of themselves in every area of politics, and in every country around the world. We all have at least one or two of those show ponies that are making fools of themselves, opening their mouths up that aren't well informed. But I feel as collectively as a globe, we're starting to see through this BS, and we're starting to look at, okay, hang on a minute, who's telling the truth, who isn't, who do I respect, who do I not respect, and how am I going to look at the world moving forward? So this is where Jupiter's asking us to expand our mind, really listen to what's being said and sift through and find the truth in the whole of this. So then we have Jupiter conjunct or holding hands with Saturn, the planet of discipline, and this is sitting in Aquarius. Now, Saturn sort of likes to come in and wave a big stick and tell us we've all got to be good boys and girls and sit down and do as we're told and learn our lessons. But while he's in Aquarius, he's asking us to maybe approach our discipline or the way that we look at things or the structure in our lives in a different way. So he's asking us to think outside the square. Now, this is really important because Saturn does love discipline and structure, and he probably feels very uncomfortable sitting in here asking you to think about things differently to the way you've always done. The ways that have always worked in the past now are becoming obsolete. So we all have an opportunity now to reboot our personal lives, our local communities, and our nations in a different way. If we all start to really sort of be open and honest with ourselves and ask, what do we need? What does the country need? What does the globe need moving forward? So to wrap up this astrology section, I just want to quickly touch on the part of fortune, which is not where we make money in a chart, but it's where we start to look at things that are sort of giving us the positivity moving forward. Now, the part of fortune is actually conjunct or hold hands, the moon in Cancer. So this is going to be opposing or not feeling comfortable with the stuff that I've just been previously talking about in Capricorn. So we're going to see some prickly conversations over the next 7 days. We're going to see a push-pull on the emotional thing. Some people will have some very deep dreams. Some people will find it hard to sleep. So just be aware it's the moon's influence. Now we're going to take our first caller, and it's Sarah in Missouri, USA. Are you there, Sarah? Hello, Sarah. Oh, it looks like we've lost Sarah in Lee Summit in Missouri. So I'll just keep talking until we see if we can get Sarah back on the line. So I hope that you understand now that emotions do play a big part in our lives, and we all need to be aware of how the astrological influence can influence each and every one of us. We all are emotional creatures, some of us more so than others. Some of us wear our heart on our sleeves and other people don't. Some people find it easier to process and deal with emotions, and other people find it very, very uncomfortable and very quickly. So I'm not sure whether we've got Sarah back.
Yes, no, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Sarah. How are you, sweetie? Do you have a question for me, darling?
I'm sorry, what did you say? You sound really far away.
Have a question I can work with, please, sweetie? Have a question?
Yes. Okay, my question, this is hard because I have so many, but let's go with, when will I succeed at the career I'm supposed to be at?
Okay, so a career choice, Sarah, is something that's very, very personal, and on a psychic level, they don't say to me, you've got to be a hairdresser or a teacher or a doctor or whatever. They just sort of put it on an energetic level. So the first thing that they're sharing with me is I don't know that you've actually tripped across or are in or focusing on the right career path yet. There seems to be a number of things that you've crossed off your list, or things that you thought at one stage, well, that could be what I'm meant to be doing. And then you've explored that and found that that's not quite right. It doesn't give me that feeling of satisfaction. So I feel in the next couple of weeks, I feel that you're going to find what it is that you really, really need to be doing. Have you started to sort of feel that you're drawn to something that's sort of like, I really, really feel this is me?
Yes, actually, there's been a lot. I had a near-death experience when I was 15 years old. And ever since then, weird things have happened to me. Like, I found out that I feel like I'm a light worker, and I have some abilities that are, my father just died and my grandfather just died, and those were big, huge, monumental men in my life. And my grandpa was very successful, and I've always looked up to him. So I feel like I'm on the brink of something right now, and I'm not sure what path to take because it feels so huge, and it's almost overwhelming. I'm almost going to cry right now.
Yeah, no, that's what I was picking up, that sort of the answers are going to come before the end of this month. And I know we've only got, a few days, but they were showing me the month of April, and I'm not talking about next April, as being life-changing for you, as sort of like the answers are going to be presented to you. All you've got to do is run with it. When they give you the insight, when they give you the answers, and they will, you'll just know. You'll just know that this is where you're meant to be going. I think you're a moment away from discovering the direction that you need to be taking. I know part of it will involve what you term as your light work, but I also sort of feel that there's something very orthodox or mainstream that you need to add into this as well. It's sort of like you're going to have two careers that'll run simultaneously. One that pays the bills, one that sort of satisfies that, I've got to go to work and I pay my taxes and I do this and I do that. And then there's the other side of you, Sarah, that is the sort of the light worker, the person that helps people get on their path. So it's like two different people becoming one. So I hope that helps you there, Sarah.
Wow.
Okay, that's lovely to talk with Sarah. We're going to go to Kayla now in Sickersville, New Jersey. Are you there, Kayla?
Yes.
How can I help you today, sweetie? Do you have a question for me?
Medium?
I am, but in the short time that we have on this show, sweetie, I can't always guarantee that I can tap into who you want to talk to. I usually prefer to ask you, do you have a question that I can work with? And if they want to chime in, they will. How does that work for you?
I just wanted to know if What if my loved ones would come through?
Darling, I can't just dial them up. I don't have a direct link to a telephone that says, let's dial up Kayla's guides. Do you have a question?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you have a question of something you want answered in your life? If they want to chime in, they will.
No, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to see if somebody would come through.
Okay, well, darling, they don't always necessarily just come through because you want them to. They usually need a reason to come through with me. Like, you've asked a question about where you're going, or am I changing my job, or is it time for me to move? Then they'll sort of come through and sort of give the guidance with a sort of a direct question. Okay, so as soon as you haven't got a direct question, I'm going to go with what I'm being given. They're showing me that the last few months that you've been questioning who you are and where you're going and what your purpose is. Is that how you've been feeling in your life in the last few months, and particularly more so the last 6 weeks? So they're showing me that this has been like a collective group of people on the other side that have all been chiming in, and not necessarily is one person going to take credit for what they've been doing, but they've all been collectively working on you and sort of trying to get you to understand that you can be the person that you want to be, Kayla, that you don't necessarily have to follow someone else's dream. It's about sort of sifting through what you want to keep and what you're prepared to let go of, and sort of say, now this is becoming who I am. It's almost like we've got a jigsaw and we've undone the box and we've got all the pieces on the table. Now it's a matter of putting those pieces together so we form a picture. And that's what they're showing me from the other side, that they're helping you put those pieces into the puzzle to form a picture. So in the last 12 months, would it be fair to say that you let go of people that were no longer right in your life? I'm not going to say that you sort of a sudden didn't like them, but there was people that have sort of left your life for one reason or another because the friendships waned or they've moved away, or you just didn't feel a connection with them anymore, because they were showing me sort of like a number of people that have left your life and they wanted to say to you, just let that go. Like, don't question it. It was meant to be. It was the season for them to leave.
Right. Yes.
And there's going to be, new people crossing your path. Look, I don't know that new people are going to cross your path tomorrow, but before the end of this year, there will be 3 new positive people that will come into your life on different areas of your life that will help you unlock more of the puzzle of where you're going and who Kayla is becoming. They're also sort of showing me that there's been a disappointment with love. So has that been an end to a relationship, or have you just had some realizations about the relationship?
There's been complications in what? I'm sorry?
Has there been complications in your relationship? They didn't necessarily show it to me that the relationship had ended. They were just showing me sort of like a series of realizations.
Yes.
And what they were showing me was it's okay to sort of not be happy about it, but it's okay too to find a solution. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel that they were pushing for the end of the relationship. They were just pushing for you to be open and honest about it and look at it and say, well, hang on a minute, I don't like this. I do like that. Let's work on this part of the relationship. And it will make the two of you stronger together, but also make you stronger as individuals. And that's something that they were pushing for.
Okay, that makes sense.
But they were also, when I say pushing, they were pushing both of you. It wasn't just you had more lessons than the other person's got. It was sort of almost like it was equal, like you've got your lessons, they've got their lessons, and then we come together as a couple and we've got lessons. And it's like this is going to form a much more powerful union than what there was 12 months ago. And I'm not saying it's been easy. It hasn't. There's been parts of this where you've sort of nearly been tearing your hair out and thinking, is this worth it? And then sort of for some reason or another, it's like somebody pushes you in the back and says, come on, keep going, Kayla. We're not at the end yet, and you're sort of thinking, oh, okay, here we go again, like I've got to keep pushing, and not understanding why. That's been 1 or 2 people from the other side literally pushing you physically forward, sort of saying that this has got to be, we've got to tackle this. We can't just leave it undone. So they're also sort of showing me a change of residence. So was that something that you were thinking about?
I actually just moved, yes.
You just moved, okay. So you
Yeah.
haven't quite settled into the new place yet?
Right.
The reason I ask that because they keep sort of saying to me that there was question marks around where you were living. So if you've just moved, that's good. Has there been times where you felt somebody around you recently?
Yes.
Yeah, they're not showing me whether it's male or female. All they're showing me was that there was more than one person that you were picking up on. And I don't know that it's necessarily, are they looking for recognition as in, oh, good, that's Auntie Myrtle. They're looking at it as just acknowledge that they're there. You know, you don't need to know who it was directly. Just know that you're being looked after. That's what they want to say to you, because there's more than one person. I'm seeing a number of people. You know, it's like quite a busy crowd that's been working to help you get where you need to go. From about August on, they're showing me things become a lot easier in your life than what they have been, and you'll have a lot more answers then. And they're just saying, keep going, keep up the good work, Kayla. Whatever you've been doing, just keep doing more of it. You are on the right track. And there will be some strong dreams towards the end of next month, and I want you to take notice of them. I want you to write them down, including anything peculiar in the dream, how you felt, whether it was in colour, was it black and white, did you, have any uncomfortable feeling, did you feel excited, did you feel sad? All these things are important for you to write down because they're going to become more pieces to this jigsaw puzzle that I was talking about. You're going to have more answers coming, particularly over the next 6 weeks. So I hope that helps you, sweetie. We're coming towards the end of the show. It's always interesting how quickly the show comes to an end. So please stay safe, stay well, listen to your local authorities at what is right for your area, and we'll do it all again in 7 days. And please be safe. Bye for now.